Greetings, class. Hey, welcome back. We are going to look at how to use software to calculate central tendency today. So we're going to go over the three measures of central tendency that you guys did by hand in this chapter, but now we're going to use our analytic software to do the work for us. But that doesn't mean that it's always self-evident that you know how to use it. So I'm going to walk you through how to use the software. And one thing about the software is I'm giving you guys some options. So you can either use Excel or you can use SPSS. So let me go through the pros and cons of both of those real quick. So first, let's talk about SPSS. Uh, some of you, if you bought your book brand new, you may have purchased it with SPSS bundled. So if you got it through the bookstore, then it should have been bundled and you should have had that software. Um, I haven't heard of any problems with that yet, but use it if you got it. You paid for it and you should use it. You just have to install it onto your device. If you have a device that you can install it, if you have a Chromebook, unfortunately it won't work for you. But if you're using like a laptop or a desktop, then you're good. SPSS, I'll say, the pros and cons. So the pros are that it's really easy to use, and I'll have videos that show you how to use that, how to use SPSS. It's a lot of like if you put the data in and you label everything, it's kind of like pointing and clicking, what you want. The con is that it's not free, right? If you already paid for it, then use it. If you're thinking that you want to use it because it's more powerful and it's a little bit easier to use, it does cost some money. So you can get it from the IBM website. You can buy it there and download it directly onto your computer. I think for a student rate, I think it was like $80 a year. Might be wrong about that price, but if you're thinking I don't want to pay that much money for something for one class this one time, you don't have to, right? So the pros and cons of SPSS are that it's not free. That's the con, and the pro is that it's easier to use than Excel, I think. Then let's talk about Excel. So Excel, the pros and the cons. Excel, I feel, is a little clunkier. It's a little bit tougher to use. I will walk you through it so you won't be alone. You can always watch my videos for tutorials. You can go on YouTube and find the same types of tutorials that way. So it's a little clunkier. It's a little tougher to use, I think, but it is free. So if you want to use it, go for it. There's nothing wrong with Excel. There's nothing wrong with SPSS. They both work fine. It's up to you, right? But you have to use one of them for assignments that are going to be sprinkled throughout the class. And it's not one of those assignments, the category of assignments that you can just blow off and do okay in the course. Like you need it, right? So you need a copy of Excel or a copy of SPSS. You can get your free copy of Excel through the whole Microsoft suite that's free to students. There's a link on our Canvas page underneath, like I think it's just student resources there. I think I put it there, where you can download the whole Microsoft suite. So you have like Word and Excel and PowerPoint and all that. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how to use Excel in this video. If you don't know which one you want to use, watch both videos and decide for yourself, right? Okay, so for this example, this little demonstration, let me show you some survey data. So I asked 50 people how they feel about the Black Lives Matter movement and protests that have been going on in our country and really around the world now. So I asked 50 people on a scale of 1 to 5, what is your attitude toward the Black Lives Matter movement? I use the word movement in the question instead of like protest, to try to keep it like as neutral as possible, or not kind of using anything that might be construed potentially as like inflammatory language or in any way. So keep that in mind, right? If you're thinking like there's something to draw from these 50 data points or this sample. But let's break this down. So my scale was a 1 to 5 scale, right? So it looked like a scale of 1 to 5, how do you feel about, right? And then you pick your number indicating your attitude. So a lower number means lower attitude. So it'd be a 1, and the highest number, which is a 5, is the highest or most positive attitude. So if we look at this frequency distribution, I didn't put all the raw data here. I used a frequency distribution instead. So we can say, okay, the people with the lowest score, there were eight of the 50 people, right, had the lowest score possible on my scale. 2 people kind of moved up a notch on the positive, toward the positive side of the scale, but they're still on the negative end, right? Because 3 is neutral, or 3 is the middle of the scale, and there's 10 people on this They have this attitude of a 3 on this 5-point scale. It's hard to know what that means at 3, right? It could mean they have mixed emotions, that they feel are balanced, or it could be that they're indifferent, right? Don't know what this one means exactly, but there are 10 people that scored a 3. There are 7 people that indicated a 4. So now we're moving in the positive direction. And then there are 13 people that gave the highest positive attitude score possible of 5, right? So here's my scale, potential numbers that you can pick for your answer. And this is how many of each number, right? So I'm going to enter this into Excel. Of course, I'm not going to enter it just like this. I'm going to put it in its raw data form. So let me pull up Excel and show you how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Here is my Excel spreadsheet. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little better. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create some titles for these columns. I'm going to call the first one attitude, right? Makes sense. So I'm measuring. And then the columns to the right of attitude, pardon me, I'm going to put down the things that I want to know. So I want to know the mean, I want to calculate the median, and I want to calculate the mode. All right, mean, median, mode. So I have all my scores will go here, and then my answers for central tendency, or my outcome rather, output for the central tendency will be in these cells here. So the first thing I want to do now is put in all the data. So if you remember from my frequency distribution, I'm going to start with number 1, so the lowest attitude and the first number on the scale. There were 8 people that gave a score of 1, so I'm going to put in 8 number 1s, right, to represent the attitudes from these 8 people. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, so there they are. So there's my 8 people that gave a low score of 1. Now I have 2 people that gave a score of 2. So we have 2 and 2. There they are. And then I have I have 10 threes. So I'm going to count these out. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got my threes in. Now I have 17 fours. So I'm going to enter these in slowly, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then I have 13 fives. So I'm going to count these out slowly too. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I should be at 51 at the bottom, 51 scores. Perfect, right? Right there at 51. Okay. I have all my data in. Now I want to calculate the mean, right? Excel doesn't use the word mean. Excel uses the word average. So keep that in mind when we run this script. So we have to enter in a command code to Excel now to say that we want the mean, and we have to type it out. So to do that, click in the cell right underneath the word mean, right? So it's like column B, cell number 2, right? B2 right there. So right in there, you're going to do equals, put an equal sign, and then in capital letters, type average, and it probably will pop up for you. Yeah, average, right? See average there. And then you're going to start parentheses. So we have parentheses, and now we add our numbers. This is where we put in all the data into this formula. So if you have equals, average, and then you have the beginning set of parentheses, right? Now I'm going to just use my my mouse here, and I'm going to highlight this column and just go all the way down to the last number like that. And you see how it entered them in up here where it says average A2 colon A51, right? So it's column A, cell 2 through 51, all going to be there inside those parentheses. So now you just have to close the parentheses and then hit enter. And that should give you your average. So the average was a 3.5. 3.5 was the average score for these 50 people. There you go. So the average of attitudes on my scale is 3.5. All right, now we're going to do something very, very similar for the median. Of course, we're not going to type an average. we're going to type in median. So you do an equal sign and then median in all caps. And then we do the same thing, right? We do the parentheses again. So we start the parentheses, we highlight the numbers that we're interested in, like so. Close parentheses, hit enter, and we've got our median. We have a median score of 4. We knew that, all right? Oh, no, we knew the mode. So it looks like the mode is going to be the same as our median, but let's calculate it just in case, right? So we click on the cell here underneath mode, and we type equals, and in this case, we want the mode. Where are you? Yeah, mode. And then we got our parentheses. We highlight the numbers again. Come on. There we go. So we got all our numbers in. We're going to close parentheses, hit enter, and there's our mode. Check it out. So we got our mean, median, and mode. Yay! Right? So much easier than doing it by hand if you have a lot of data. And that's really all there is to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this Excel spreadsheet up, this exact one here. I'm going to put it up onto Canvas so that you can practice. You can watch along, the video with me and practice with me as we're going through it. And then I'm going to put up an assignment where I'm going to give you the data and you put it into Excel or SPSS, whichever one you're going to use. And then you just upload it for me so I can see that you did it on your own and you know how to do it. All right. So I hope that was helpful. And we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do the same thing for the next couple chapters coming up, where we're going to look at variability and then creating graphs. And I'll show you guys how to do that too and walk you through that process. All right. So don't forget, there'll be 2 Excel files up there. One you can practice with, and then, one that's the actual assignment. All right. Until next time, guys.